Earlier, you were talking about what makes one thing that's separate from native and non-native is the relationship to place and to land. Um, what happens if you don't have, as you said, your belly button is from the earth? What happens if you don't have that kind of relationship and how you live in this world?
Well, I mean, what happens is obvious. I mean, you look around you in contemporary society, that's what happens, you know. And how do we change it is probably the more essential thing. You know, many folks are saying, well, how do we get Euro-Americans to become native? You know, and not saying we want them to be Indian by any means, but being able to put themselves in connection with the earth again. You know, to look at how non-native peoples can conceive ceremony, conceive rituals that again tie them spiritually to a place. The absence of a spiritual relationship to a land renders the land without a soul, with something that can be commodified, can be abused, can be destroyed. Because it has no relationship to humans. You know, humans have their heaven. You know, the Euro-American concept, the Christian concept of heaven is quite different. You know, upon death you're going to leave. You know, and the forecasting of a time of Armageddon, that the earth is going to end anyway, and we will be saved, salvation will happen, and we'll continue a better life somewhere else, renders Euro-Americans no obligation to protecting where you live today. It's a spiritual, it's a religious concept that is very destructive. You know, whereas indigenous peoples understand the earth has a soul, the earth is alive and well, and through human responsibility to administer to the earth, to pray to the earth, and to heal the earth and to protect the earth as a foundation of who we are, you know, builds that stronger identity with the earth and the preservation of the earth. You know, in the U.S., in the Americas, you know, we contend that God is an illegal alien. You know, it is foreign to this country. You know, there's no concept of a God, an almighty. You know, gradually through Christianization, we hear Native peoples talk about, you know, a sole creator or a singular God. And some of them may have some concepts of creation, of a creator, but only in the context of a worldview that's tied to the earth. A worldview of Euro-Americans that the earth is only a temporary living space, that, you know, someday they're going to move on to this gated community, you know, somewhere in the heavens, you know, provides no incentive to protect, you know, where we live. And it's a very destructive concept. It's a very destructive spiritual understanding. And I think that in terms of what differs from, what makes a native paradigm different from a Euro-American paradigm, that is at the crux. You know, that whole concept of a spiritual understanding. How do we create that change in the dominant society at a level where massive change will happen in a very short period of time, is what we're confronted with today. You know, Native peoples, we say, well, it's, first of all, it's not our responsibility to change non-native thinking. They're going to have to change themselves. But understanding quite well, you know, we're floating on this island along with everybody else. You know, and the destruction that the dominant society has taken is a threat to our very own survival as well, is paramount. You know, it's paramount in terms of where we go and what we can control. You know, encouraging prayer, encouraging people to develop ritual, encouraging people to connect to the earth, is a gradual, slow process. And you see, that happening at times, but by and large, the mass of society is moving toward destruction. How do we change that in time to preserve the earth as we know it? I don't know if we can. In many prophecies, there will be this great change, and that great change, is going to be upon us in a short period of time. Even scientists suggest if significant change doesn't take place in the next 10 years, in the next 15 years, that the environmental systems are going to be reaching a level of overshoots to the point where they can't be salvaged. And like system changes, one system leads to a significant impact on another system, and ecological systems begin to change all at once. Other folks say that, well, social systems are can change as rapidly. And how do we begin that the social changes within human society once something once an awareness is achieved, that awareness will have a direct impact on other social systems and begin to change rather rapidly. Right now, it's not happening at any rapid speed, and it gets back to by force or by will conversation. That if confronted by force, by ecological destruction, by more Katrinas, more floodings, more climate change issues, that's going to have a direct change on what people can do. But the answer so far, it doesn't provide any worldwide optimism for that to happen.